Hello, it's your old pal Joshua P. Warren here, and I am doing something that I have never done before. I am auctioning off a minion that I created with my own hand. This is a being that I sketched and put through a ritual and psychically charged with life and gave it a mission and asked it to go off and please fulfill a mission for me. And some of you know exactly what I'm talking about, but if this is new to you, you're probably going, I knew this guy was weird, but what the hell are you talking about? So since I've never done this before, I wanted to leave a recording like this for you to explain more about what this is and how it was created and why that I've decided to auction this off, why I've never done anything like this before. As I have never sat down and created an original piece of art of any kind like this and sold it before, ever in my entire life, unless you want to maybe count, doing an illustration for a book or something, but never an original work of art like this, because I do enjoy sketching. That's one thing that I've done whenever I can throughout my life in order to relieve some stress. And fortunately, I do have some talent. And so, it's a fun thing for me to use to sort of express some of the weird things that go on in my head. This particular minion was given a very particular purpose, as it should be. I gave it the mission, I want you to announce alien life in the mainstream media in 2018. And I talk about a good job. As you know, in 2018, the U.S. government released explosive official footage and acknowledged that these are not human craft that are flying around out there. And I was just astounded by how effectively this process had worked. So what I'm auctioning off here is the original artwork signed by me. It's in a frame. And let me tell you more about exactly how I made this thing and why that I've decided to auction it off. So there are many different ways of manifesting things. And I have talked about the Minion method on a number of occasions. I talked about it on my podcast, Joshua P. Warren Daily. And I talked about it on the first episode of my new podcast, Strange Things, that I do on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. And so if you want more details, you might want to go back and just listen to episode 1 of my show, Strange Things. And you'll find them all there for free if you just go to strangethingshow.com, strangethingshow.com, and you'll see the different platforms. But episode 1 tells you about this method and other methods. But here's the bottom line. There are different ways of trying to manifest something depending on what connects with you. And because that I have always been a visually artistic person, and I do like to occasionally paint and sketch, and I've sculpted and that kind of stuff, that makes it easy for me to feel connected to creating a picture of something that looks more or less like I wanted it to appear. And so when you want to make a minion, if you decide to do it by drawing something, here is the basic thing you need to do. You need to figure out what the purpose of this minion is going to be. You have to give it a mission. I want you to, okay? And we'll get back to that in a minute. Once you figure out what your mission is, then you need to set up, here's what I did anyway, okay? I set up a nice big professional sketch pad, and I got all my charcoals and erasers around it. And I had some candles lit, and I think I may have had some sort of like white noise or something in the background. And I sat there in this dimly lit room, and I looked at that blank sheet of paper, and I just sort of envisioned a being of some sort. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, but I just envisioned some kind of a being that was going to represent the character that would carry out the mission. So I may as well just make this as specific as possible. Like I say, in this case, I was thinking, I want you to announce alien life in the mainstream media in 2018. At that point, I just started sketching. And I just took my time, and it's sort of, I don't know, maybe it took me an hour, maybe less. But I just saw this sort of emerge, and finally, when it was all fleshed out, it had almost a three-dimensional quality, this figure that appeared. And I'm actually looking at a picture of it right now. And I think it has, this face almost kind of seems to be popping off of the page. There's a lot of dimension, a lot of texture. There's a lot of sort of energy sort of radiating out from behind it. And it also has a very benevolent expression. And so when I felt that it was finished, and this sort of was the externalization of what I had in my imagination, then I said, now I'm going to give you a name. And at this point, you can call this figure whatever you want to. I just open my mouth and let whatever comes out be the name. If you want to call it Bill or Nancy or what, that's fine. But I opened my mouth, and here's what came out. Wajiva. Wajiva. And so I took a marker and I wrote Wajiva at the top of my drawing. And then at the bottom, I wrote, as I said out loud, what I wanted. I want you to announce alien life in the mainstream media in 2018. So I've created this thing. I've given it a name. I've given it a purpose. This is at very least like creating some kind of a tulpa. Now, I know that some people are freaked out by this kind of thing because they say, what if you're conjuring up a demon or something like that? You're creating this sort of psychic shell that some kind of entity can slip into. Well, I don't think that it is possible for you to use this process and to create something evil unless that is what you intend, because I am the creator of this thing. And so it is going to be what I want it to be. And therefore, I don't believe when you make a minion that you're creating something that can be sort of hijacked by some other entity out there. That has never been my experience. Okay, so here I am. I'm very satisfied. I'm looking at this drawing. Let's see. This sketch is in the frame now. It's like 12 and a quarter inches high by 9 inches wide. And so, it's regular like sketch pad size. And so then I decided that now that I had asked it, or given it its mission, that I needed to express some gratitude by giving it a gift. Call it a sacrifice. That some people don't like that word, but call it what you want. An offering. And what you want to do to express your appreciation when you create a minion like this is you want to find something that you like, and I think something edible is most appropriate. And then instead of you eating it, you set it down in a dish in front of your drawing of your minion. So it could be an apple. Or it could be maybe a flower that you like, or maybe like in my case, I like turkey jerky and chicken jerky. I don't eat beef jerky so much anymore. Sometimes I have issues with that, but I got some like nice juicy turkey jerky that I would have liked to have eaten, but instead I put this in the dish and I said, Wajiva, I offer this to you with appreciation for you fulfilling this mission on my behalf. You now work for me, You're going to help a lot of people out there. And then I said, thank you. So mote it be. And I meditated for a little while, and then I blew out the candles, and then I left with Jiva there with the meat for 3 days and 3 nights. And then at that point, I discarded the meat, and I put Wajiva on the wall of my office, where it has been for the past 4 years. And one of the things that is very different about this particular type of minion is that usually when you create a minion, you are creating it to work on something that's very personal in your own life and something that you might want to just keep to yourself. I made this for all of us. By us, I mean this entire community of people, this entire audience of people who listen to my podcasts and follow my work and participate in these experiments with me. And so that's why, for example, I took a picture of this. It's the only minion, because I'm looking at some of my others, and I want to make sure before I say this. Yeah, this is the only minion that I have ever photographed and put on the internet, because I made this for all of us to participate in the process, that Wajiva was going to go out there and work for all of us. And like I say, look at what happened. I mean, 2018 is when this whole UFO phenomenon was embraced so suddenly that a lot of people didn't even pay attention to it. I mean, there was like so much other stuff that was happening in the world. And I believe that Wajiva is continuing to work on this mission, bringing us more and more UFO and alien disclosures every day. And I believe that Wajiva is going to do so for years to come. Now, when I made Wajiva and shared it with everybody, I would also, every time I would look at Wajiva, I would say, once again, I want you to announce alien life. Thank you very much. You know, that's all you have to do is be respectful. A minion can potentially work for you forever, if necessary, or at least until a mission is fulfilled. I think Wajiva is going to continue to work. Now, when I told my wife, Lauren, that I was considering putting Wajiva out there for auction as an original work of art by me, she said, do you think you should do that? Is that good? Or could that be a bad thing, that you created this spiritual minion, that you put this, psychic part of your soul and spirit and everything into, and now you're going to sell it? And I told her it's absolutely fine, because this was not made just to work on a personal issue in my life that I think should be kept private. I may have created it, but again, I created it for all of us. And so now I want to see what happens if I say, thank you very much, Wajiva. You've done a great job as far as I'm concerned. Now I want to pass you along to somebody else in our community. And let's see what happens for that person. Okay. Let's extend this process. And frankly, I don't know if there's ever anything wrong with giving a minion away, even if it's a personal minion to you. As long as you are doing it for a loving and positive purpose. I mean, I know it kind of feels like giving one of your puppies away or something like that, but sometimes it's good to give your puppy away and make somebody else happy, right? Instead of hoarding up everything. And so that's why I'm really excited about the idea that somebody else out there is going to be able to experiment with Wajiva. And it's also, frankly, a great honor for me to know that my original artwork will be hanging on the wall of one of you out there, someone who appreciates it, someone who will, I presume, continue to work toward opening minds. And this is why this is such an exciting opportunity for me. Not only is this an experiment, but I give a good portion of whatever I make every month to various charities. You should know that if you listen to my podcast. I do that because I believe that that's good karma, and I think that attracts abundance. So whatever money comes from this, majority of it will end up going to some charitable cause anyway. And so that's one positive thing that will come from it. Plus just giving it a new loving home. And I don't have any plans to ever do anything like this again. I mean, it's pretty cool to think that I could create a piece of art that somebody out there may appreciate enough to hang on his or her wall. So, I mean, maybe I will consider doing this again someday. But this is the first time, and this is a very, very special piece of artwork. Wajiva. I want you to announce alien life in the mainstream media in 2018. Wajiva has done a great job. So hopefully you understand a little bit more now about why that I'm doing this and what this is. And once again, if you want to learn more about creating your own minions, just go to strangethingshow.com and listen to episode 1, and that'll give you more insight, but hopefully you get the idea. All right, my friends, I hope that you have been enjoying the new podcast, Strange Things. It's been going on a lot longer than I even anticipated. So everybody seems to love it. So hopefully, whoever gets this work of art, this minion, will have some really interesting reports that I can share with everybody else on the podcast in the near future. If you want to put a bid on Wajiva, the easiest thing is you'll find links through all my various social media, but just go to unusualauctions.com. That is my website. I don't actually carry out the auction. Mobius does that, but it's unusualauctions.com. The auctions all operate via eBay. And if this is something that doesn't particularly interest you, well, then you should check out unusualauctions.com from time to time and see what else may end up there. So if you go to unusualauctions.com, you will find a link to this auction, and we will see what happens. So I hope you find this interesting and as exciting as I do, and I'll keep you updated through my future podcasts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your interest and support. Thank you for staying curious. May the Force be with you, and I will talk to you again soon.